Black Out Loud Media Group. Welcome back to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast, the place where poetry meets conversation. I'm your host, Trenise Elmore, and before we get into today's topic, make sure you hit that plus sign so you don't miss an episode. Also, please subscribe to my blog, thebrownssugarcafe.blog, and if you find any value in this episode or any other episodes, make sure you leave a heartfelt review. So with that being said, let's get to it. What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode, and today I have a special guest, Trenise Elmore of Your World on Film. Trenise, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you for coming on. For those of y'all who do not know, Trenise is my sister, and she is a world-renowned photographer and videographer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I wanted to have you on today to talk about your journey as a photographer, videographer, and also an entrepreneur.
Okay, well, my name is Trenise. I am Terrence's little sister, and I am a creative. I own Your World on Film, where I help families and brands tell their story authentically and creatively through strategic storytelling. So a lot of that looks like branding, photos and videos for businesses, and family portraits, family documentaries, also just fun content creation for those who just need help telling their story visually.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and dive into this since we're talking about branding.
Okay.
I see a lot of people hire videographers to shoot films and to shoot, I guess, what's supposed to be branding, but there isn't any real storytelling when I see these videos. Just a bunch of people just standing around doing whatever. Mm-hmm. How important is it when it comes to branding to have a story being told?
It's very important. I think a lot of people don't understand there's a difference between being a brand and then having a business. So you can have a business and sell items or sell a service, but your brand comes in when you create a personality, when you create a vibe that people can expect when they, whether they come to your website or they come to your place or your space of work, whether it be a storefront or if you have a spa. So as a business owner, you're going to have to identify if you are a brand first, and then what story are you trying to send or tell about yourself, and what message are you sending to your potential customers or client. So it's very important.
Wow.
If you don't have a complete understanding of what you're doing, you're just going to just have a whole bunch of pictures and video of just things that can't tell your story. But when you understand what you're doing, you're able to partner with a creative. So you create individual items, i.e. video or photos, to help you tell your story and push the messages within.
Wow. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I think that really gets lost, like the storytelling aspect, because right now content is king and everybody's just trying to push out content, and they're not really thinking about the storytelling aspect when it comes to content. They just want to put videos out, and of course that works if you're, on TikTok or Instagram or something like that. But if you're an actual brand or business, as you said, it's important to have storytelling. It lets people know why they should spend their money with you.
Correct.
Because stories really reach people, and if people can relate to your story, or even if they can't relate directly, if they feel something in your story, if they don't spend their money with you, they're more than likely to tell somebody else who this can benefit.
Right. I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
So how did you get started with videography?
Well, I actually got started with videography. Well, if we want to rewind back to childhood years.
Let's do it. Let's rewind.
As my brother can tell you, I've always been fascinated with pictures. So I was always the one in the family that had the disposable camera. And I think it was
This
the
is
game
true.
changer when I got the audio recorder and I could play back sound. I was just like, wow, this happened.
Yes, I remember that. You would record everything.
Yes, so I would record everything. And I'm really upset that I cannot find that recorder. But I remember I used to have that recorder. I used to record everything, and then it was just exciting to just play it back and to hear, you know, what was recorded. And also, fast forward to high school, I was always the girl with the camera, and I still have pictures of everybody in high school.
Me too.
And so it was just very important to me. Taking pictures was very important to me, like just memories. I was always big on just making memories. And then in high school at the church I was attending, I learned how to edit video. And then that's when I was just like, oh, this is cooler. Even though I love photos, but video, you can actually relive the moment. So when you have a picture, you can kind of like, you know, reminisce like, wow, you know, I remember this and this happened. When you take an actual video clip, you can play back the emotion, the feeling, and it's just like a perfect way to have a keepsake as a memory. So from there, you know, I just was very intentional about how I should just go about making it something I could do. At the time, I just thought it would be a hobby. I remember, I'll never forget this, Thetra Brown, who is also a photographer and a makeup artist, she had me drop off a lens she borrowed from another photographer. And that was Kim Craven. And when I went to Kim Craven's house and I asked her what she did, she was just like, oh, I'm a photographer. And I was like, that's all you do? And she was like, yes. And she was looking at me funny and I'm looking at her funny. Like, that's all you do? You got a house? Like, you're living a life off of photography? And and she was like, yeah. And she was just going in and to explain. I don't think it was that first setting, but I know between the first and second setting of me meeting her, she explained like the different avenues. Like, even though she was a photographer, companies would hire her to edit things, or they just hire her to edit photos that they may have already had done and like retouched. So that opened my eyes to, there's so many opportunities for me to thrive in this realm. So I remember, I want to say 2015, or maybe it was 2014, I was working at Wet Seal. That was my last retail.
Oh yeah, I remember those wet seal days. I'd come home and they could stop by and visit you while you were working.
So I was a manager, and I was actually like an active, I think that's what you call it, an active manager. The manager who was the real manager was out for several months, and they had me in her place because I was originally the assistant manager. But they had me just running around managing a store in Myrtle Beach, West Ashley, and then I was just tired, and they were selling me this dream and pretty much just had me as a placeholder to just fill until they filled the position. And so they came in and told me I didn't get the official manager job, and then that's when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks. I had no plans. No plans at all. And I just was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So I put in my 2 weeks. I had no clue what I was going to do as far as like how I was going to run this business, but God provided, because after that 2 weeks was done, I began to get jobs lined up for my photography, and I've been rolling ever since.
Yeah, I want to give you, how the old folks say, give you your flowers while you're here. I really commend you, because growing up too, taking pictures and recording, I never got that camcorder that I wanted, but those sort of things were important to me. Like, I wanted to be like in journalism. I wanted to be like a reporter and also take the pictures and things like that too, along with a lot of other things. And now as an adult, I realized that being a creative, you can have these different ideas and different things you want to do, but growing up, we're taught that you have to stick with just one thing and that's it. But I never really pursued photography. You know, I want to do it now.
And you're a great photographer.
I'm going to do it. Yep. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Because that's always been something I've been interested in, is like photography and videography. I even tried to sign up for the broadcast classes in high school. I always got denied.
Oh, I got denied
for
too.
whatever reason. So I never had an opportunity to do that. But, you know, now here with a podcast, I thought about this the other day. I'm like, I am in journalism.
Yes, you are.
And so just have to, you know, get this camera and start taking pictures. I mean, got my social media pages and I do editing. I edit for my content and things like that, especially with my barbecue pages. I'm editing and things like that, and it's fun. I mean, that's a part of the creative process, but I commend you for sticking with it. Not only did you stick with it, you turned it into a business.
Yes.
Like, this is your business. You're a full-time entrepreneur.
Yes.
So yeah, that's super dope.
Thanks.
Anybody who can do that, work for themselves, hey, hats off to you. So as an entrepreneur, and you talked about what catapulted you into going full-time with your photography, I'm sure there was a time when you were afraid, even maybe in that moment, but what did you do and how did you keep focused and say, I did make the right decision?
That's a very good question. I feel like I didn't know I made the right decision until I had my son. Shout out to Pays.
Yes, shout out to Pays.
So after I had him, I was contemplating on maybe I should go back, you know, to working on somebody's job, as the people would say.
Yeah.
But I also want to shout out Andre Brown. I didn't even know this guy, but I was about, I want to say, maybe Paige was like 6 months, and I found out about his workshop. And well, how about let's rewind to after I launched this business. So I launched this business very risque, I would say. Like
risque, huh?
No planning, no nothing. I just knew this is what God told me to do. But at the same time, I did not get the instructions on how to go about it. So I spent I spent a bulk of my years all over the place. So it was like I was the first few years I was working from gig to gig, check to check. And of course, you know, sometimes that's kind of cool when you're single and you're you know, traveling and all that stuff. That's kind of cool when you just wandering aimlessly.
One person to worry about. Yeah. One person to worry about. You can do a whole lot.
So fast forward to now, I have a whole person to worry about, me and somebody else. I was like, wow, maybe I probably need to go on somebody's job. But Andre Brown, I don't even know this guy. I think I didn't at the time. I didn't know him, but we ended up Facebook friends. And he is a photographer, Andre Brown Photography. He's a magnificent photographer, might I add. But he was having a workshop, his very first Embrace workshop. And it was in Atlanta. And he asked, I saw it, and then, I don't know, I think he asked if I was interested in coming. But then I told him, you know, I wasn't sure. Because even though I still was making money with the business, but it wasn't enough, and I was also living with the parents, so it was like I just didn't want to be spending money and not knowing when I was going to work again. And so, but I didn't tell him all of that. But I just told him I'm not sure if I'm going to make it.
True.
But I shared his workshop. I was just like, shoot, somebody need to see this. But anyways. Out of the blue, he was like, hey, I want to give you a scholarship to my workshop. And I was like, what?
Oh, wow.
And mind you, he doesn't know me. He does not know me. And so I go to this workshop, and it changed the whole trajectory. What did the people say? The trajectory of my path. It was changed. Because he really broke down just like the business aspect of the business, so I can just be free in the creative part. But I really needed to focus on the business. So, and I like to tell people, like, I have a creative business, but a lot of us don't know how to do business. We're just creatives who do not know how to run business. And that's what I was doing. I was a creative who had no idea how to run a business. But attending the Embrace workshop in 2018 changed my life. And literally, I want to say the first 2 weeks out of that, going to that workshop, I was able to secure my first wedding for $5,000. Because before it was like a little lower than that. I was charging weddings for like, you know, a little, maybe my first wedding ever was like $250. Then I boosted it up.
Of course, because you're just starting off and you don't want to hit people in the head until you kind of get because I see some prices and some people charging for wedding photography and videography, and I'm just looking at the quality of work after, and I'm just like, how can you say that this was worth that?
Yeah, it's a lot of that going around, but you know, that's for another.
we don't have enough time for that. Hey.
But yes, he really helped me just add more value to my business. And that right there kept me going, because at the same time, I wanted to build, like, even though I didn't see it, I still at that time still wanted Your World on Film to be a studio. So now I can actually see Your World on Film having a studio now, because now I understood the business part. Because before, being that I had no idea of what it actually took to run the business, like I would get discouraged about, well, I probably might have a studio one day, or I don't know. But now that I was actually, like writing the vision, making it plain, writing the numbers down, what I need to make, like what I need to be focusing on to actually run the business. Now I can be like, oh, okay, because the studio gonna be just like this. So that is what made me keep going. And then of course, being an example for my son to see that this is possible.
Yeah, that's very important. And I think workshops, enough people don't think about or take the time to go to workshops. They think that they're already in their craft and they've been doing it for X amount of years, and they don't think that they could find value in a workshop. But there's always value in workshops. There's always new things you can learn. There are always things, I found going to workshops that I've learned more things, even enhance some things like you said that you already knew. So anybody listen, I want you to know that, please, if you see a workshop in something that you're doing, sign up for it. Even if you can't make it, like Trenise said, or you can't afford it, share it out. Hey, you might be offered a scholarship. You never know. And I do appreciate that about you. Like, that's, well, I guess because we're siblings, but if it's something that I can't make and you tell me about an event, I'll share it. Because even though I don't make it or I can't make it, I want you to be successful in whatever you do. And the fact that you're reaching out to me, letting me know you're having this event and you want me to come, and it's like, hey, I can't, but I can do this. And I think that gets lost sometimes when it comes to creative. Some people feel like there's this competition thing, and if I share yours, yours, whatever, it's taken away from mine. And I've seen you and other photographers and videographers share each other's work. Like, how they have those posts on Facebook looking for a photographer, and if somebody tags you or whatever, and you like, I can't make it on that date, but did you check so and so, he or she might be available? I think that's pretty good. That's pretty dope. I mean,
we are all in this together.
So thank you. Exactly. So what has your experience been working in the videography and photography industry as a black woman? How are you received, and was it always that way to begin with?
That is a very interesting question. It is very different in different spaces. So as a black woman, and I also do a lot of freelance with other production companies that produce for, like networks like the Food Network or HGTV.
Right.
So sometimes when you're in that space, it's not a lot of me, people that look like
Right.
me, and most cases because I'm usually holding the camera. It's not a lot of women holding the camera. So
Right.
first, some men are kind of like, wow, it's a woman. And but some men, the other are like, wow, how'd you get this? How'd you hear about this? And I'm just
Wow.
like, wow, how'd you hear about it?
Exactly.
So it's like a hit or miss, but I'm thankful because I don't let that bother me. I love
Right.
the whole experience when it comes to production. So I'm only focused on one goal, and that's for us to just bring a beautiful project to life. And I've met some wonderful people.
That's it.
And I've also met some producers, who are men who don't look like me, but they're very blown away of how humble I am, and how just, even though I have run my own business, and I don't go in there saying, oh, I run my own business, because most of us that are on set have our own business.
Right.
But I just come in there as a regular person. But when they find out what I do, they're just shocked that I'm not like flaunting myself or like, oh, I do this. I'm just here to shoot, you guys. So it's like a hit or miss. Some people are, but lately I must say it hasn't been like it used to be. And I feel like now that I have a resume with some credits on it, people see, what I got going on. Then, it's a little respect right there. But in the beginning, it was, it's almost like you just got to earn your way in. So
that's true.
But it's very interesting being a Black woman in media.
I will say that you are really doing well in your field.
You.
I mean, and you're representing for the women, for the Black women. You're representing. So you have, speaking of workshops, you have one coming up yourself. I'm sorry, would it be considered a workshop, or is that the proper name for it?
I'm calling it a workshop.
You call it a workshop?
Yeah,
okay. It's called yes, it's called It's called Let's Reel It In. It will be on
April 1st. Yeah.
April 1st.
April 1st.
So anybody in the Charleston area, this will be published before April 1st.
Yeah, there's only 3 seats available.
Whoa.
As of today, let me check.
As of today, so well, hopefully when this episode airs, they'll be gone.
Yes, I prayed for a sold-out workshop. And it's coming to pass.
Wow, that's awesome. I already secured my ticket.
I'm so excited. Yes, so there's 3 tickets left.
3.
And there was 7 yesterday.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have the link information in the show notes, but tell me a little bit about that. What was the idea behind creating this workshop, and what will the workshop be about? What can someone expect from a workshop like this?
So the workshop is Let's Reel It In. As a videographer and photographer, I've always been asked if I could do like a class, or if I do one-on-ones, which in the past, when COVID struck us down, I did have like virtual editing classes and things like that, but I just never made the time for it. But this year I am making the time to do, what the people are requesting of me. So one of them is the workshops, which, spoiler alert, there will be, from this workshop, there will be my Story Blocks Academy, which will allow you to, spend some one-on-one time with me when it comes to whether you want to learn how to create reels, or if you want to get into videography or photography and things like that. But that'll be talked about more at the workshop. But
of course, you don't give them all. You gotta sign up for the workshop, and if you miss this one,
there will be more.
Just gotta catch the next one.
But this one was really because a lot of people, again, like content is king, and the main thing people really want to learn is how to shoot video on your phone. And so I want to provide that for others, because it is something that is very overwhelming for others, but I want to be able to simplify that process for them so they can just master what they already have and just create content at ease. Now, of course, you want to hire a professional when you get that, to get that polished look for your company or your project or your campaign. But, sometimes you got to learn how to create content on the go.
That's true, because like you said, you may get hit with an opportunity 12 o'clock and they're like, hey, I need you to do this real quick for me, have this up by 3. You're not going to have time to contact and hire a professional. You may find one in that short amount of time, but you all are busy people. You have stuff lined up and, that time may not be available. But if you have the basic tools and the basic understanding, you can put a little quick video up yourself.
And a lot of my clients are like me. They're what we consider, I like to say, big business owner, but they're small business owners. They don't have a videographer on payroll, or they don't have a photographer on payroll.
No.
Or a social media manager on payroll. So it does pay to invest that time to learn how to do some basic techniques on your phone so that you can have what you need. Because I always preach this: documentation is key. You always want to document. And that's a part of capturing memories. Documenting is key. Yeah. You got to have proof.
I started, I think I told you, I did tell you, I started my YouTube channel for my barbecue
congratulations.
page. And so thank you. And so I'll be looking more into doing some landscape videos and things like that.
I think you should get into wrapping them too.
What's that, wrapping like?
So like wrapping your photos and selling them.
Wait a minute. Wrapping my photos and selling them? See, right there. Wow, okay. Man, so like wrap them on something in particular?
Oh, you can, just like frame, wrapping is just like to simplify it, but you can print your photos to be sold. So whether you wrap it on a canvas or just get it framed.
Right. See, terminology right there. You like wrapping.
Have them in some art galleries.
And that's part of the reason my thinking was when I get this camera is I want to do photojournalism, but I want to also have some photography in galleries, because it's all a part of art. I mean, even when I'm writing something, I can visually see it. And so I think being able to capture something with a camera and also capture something with your words, paint, draw, all of that stuff is connected. And I watched what was it, CBS this morning, one of those shows, and they had the guy Photo Dre, and when they had his story on there, I was like, wow, that was something that I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to just take just pictures of people walking the streets with a camera, developing my own film. Like, that was a thing I wanted to do. And I'm like, I could still do that. Maybe not so far as to developing my own film, possibly, but I could still do that. And so I really, wow, okay, yeah. So anyway, back to the barbecue thing. back to the barbecue. So, I'm going to be, doing more videos and doing more editing. I've got to dabble into some editing with my reels and things like that and transitions, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll see. I'm out there now, so
I'm proud of you.
Gotta make it happen.
Great job.
Yeah, thank you. Being a part of Black Smoke Barbecue, it's a great group of fellas. They already have their YouTube channels, dope content. I'm just looking like, wow, okay,
right.
Okay.
And now that you're going to come to the class, you're going to learn how to create content to drive them to your YouTube.
That is what I need. So this is going to be great, because I got a YouTube channel for the Brown Sugar Cafe as well. But right now I just throw like a couple of reels on there, and it really doesn't have any activity. So I'm pretty sure this class will help me in both areas, because I need to do an uptake on my things. You talked about documenting. You also do documentaries.
Those are my favorite.
Really good documentaries. What got you started on doing documentaries? And I was going to ask you that if that was your favorite or not, but you kind of already answered that question. Like, what got you started, and what is the experience like when you're actually filming for these documentaries? And also, How do you get these opportunities?
Okay. Well, my first ever documentary was Concrete Rose with Walter Brown.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. That was actually in 2016, I believe. 2017.
I'm not good with dates.
It could be 2000. I'll let y'all know in a second. But however, that was my first like full-length documentary. But I already had a documentary style when I did my client work. It's because I was always fascinated with how this person started in their process and where they are now. So I was always fascinated by that. And so that really just drove me to just help businesses tell their story. Because I know for a fact, like, people want to know you. Before they spend $1, they got to get to know who you are. But
that's true.
Before you even think about the money, my big thing was, you are a business owner. And the majority of my clients back in the day were Black people. I was like, so this need to be recorded. Like, this needs to be documented that you own this business. Yeah. So when when Walter reached out to me and asked me if I would do the documentary, first of all, I can't even remember how. I think he said his father's girlfriend referred me. I don't even know how they found me. I don't know how she found me, but his father's girlfriend found me, and he wanted me to do his documentary. He had a very colorful lifestyle growing up in and out of the prison system. He was fresh out of prison when he met me. Yeah. And he was working on an album. And the beautiful thing about this interaction was he listed everything that he wanted to do now that he was out of prison. And he was telling me how he had an album he was going to release, and how there was going to be a show, things like that. And so I got to learn about his past, where he was in his present, and how, God turned his life around, and he listed things that he knew he wanted to happen in the future. And to experience that with him and to document all of that, I was like, wow, I want to do this for the rest of my life. So wow. I just love learning about people, like stories. And that's how I also found, because I didn't say this in the beginning, but I also blog about my life experience to help others. But his story was documented in order to help others. He came from a very dark background, and now he's a light shining his story for others to follow.
Right.
They not directly have to follow his path, but at least be inspired by his words and what happened in his life. And so that is why I love doing documentaries, getting to learn about people. And then I'm able to also pull nuggets from what they experience in life and how they got through certain things.
See, yeah. That's why it's important for us to share our stories. They help people, and even the process, look at there, even being the filmmaker, you can learn something from the experience, and it might not even be something that you shoot, just conversation and just being in the presence of that person. I know it's difficult for a lot of us to share our stories, and of course you don't want to tell everybody the most deep, intimate parts. There are some people who, you will be able to have that experience with and tell them those things to help them. But for the most part, you can find things to share with people that help them that's not going to, dim your light. I say this often. We all go through our different struggles and challenges, and we've all had our different hurdles and obstacles that we had to face. And then people sometimes meet us at the end of those obstacles and think that everything was perfect all our lives, but that's far from the truth. And more people need to be transparent about that and say, hey, you see me here, but I started off charging $250 for weddings because I was just fresh out the gate. But now you look at me, you're like, wow. Mm-hmm. It's a process. And you said you went from, quote unquote, to use your words, being all over the place to now having a business structure, to now having a workshop, the first of many. So, hey, we just can't be afraid to share our story, man. That's really another reason why I wanted you on here, to share your story, to inspire people. This is why I started podcasting and started taking on more guests, so that people can share their stories and hopefully they can be inspired and understand that they can do these things. They don't have to be on somebody's job. If they have something that God has placed on their heart to do, and they have a talent that they could work on, get better at, they can be a full-time entrepreneur. Right. So thank you for coming on. Me. I really appreciate your hey man, no problem. Before I let you get out of here, let people know how they can reach you, how they can contact you. Your main quote-unquote hub is in the Charleston area.
I do travel.
Are you do travel? I don't know if you travel as much as our homeboy Rodney, because Rodney's all over the place, boy. Whenever I see him do a post and he says I will travel, I be wanting to say so. But yes, he will. Rodney is all over the place.
I believe me and Rodney have the same. We're probably on the same wave of this travel. Now he's a little extreme with his travel. He likes to go and come back the same day, but I like to just, go in, do my job, rest, and come back. But it may seem like he's all over the place because he's in and out. I stay a little while.
Got it. Well, hey, you heard it here. She travels, so let the people know how they can contact you, how they can follow you, any information you want to give.
Follow me on Instagram, Your World on Film. Also the same handle for Facebook. You can visit yourworldonfilm.com. Check out my work. I have a blog, Hey It's Trenise. You can follow me on Instagram at Hey It's Trenise. You can also go, this hasn't been released, but you can also go on www.heyitstrenise.com.
Right? We got an exclusive, folks.
It's just sitting there, but I update it occasionally, guys. I update it with my blog.
Okay.
And then, of course, if you would like to freelance or partner with me on a project, you can hit me up there. And that's pretty much it. Okay.
Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing a little bit. You're welcome. Sharing a little bit of your story. Of course, I have you on again later, but I do appreciate your time. Thank you to everyone that's listening. And as always, remember, keep pushing forward.
Keep pushing.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Trenise Elmore, and this is the place where poetry meets conversation. Hit that follow button and turn on your notifications so you won't miss an episode. Check out my blog, thebrownsugarcafe.blog. Also connect with me on Instagram at thebrownsugarcafe. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, remember, keep pushing forward.